It's not that I'm not getting clients. I'm getting more than enough clients, but you're seeing that the length of time a client signs up has expanded. And I'm adapting to how that works.
What do you
So
mean
it's
by expanded? Do you mean it's less frequent and longer, or do you mean it's
so it's taking longer for a client journey compared to a year or
well,
two
for
ago.
them to sign up? The lead
Sign up,
time
yeah,
to conversion has extended.
has extended. Now, in the beginning I was experimenting with it
Takes
a
longer.
lot to
I've
see
noticed
like
that too. Actually, now that you
yeah.
mentioned, I've noticed that too. Taking more than a couple calls to get somebody to the point where they're ready to go. Right.
And that makes sense. So if there's a book of those of us who are listening to this, Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, it will help you understand how economy, money, investing, all that stuff is emotional in nature. Most people assume that it's logical, but it's not. So people shift with the economy because the whole economy is based on an emotional process. The whole stock market, everything in the world operates around money, and money is an emotional thing for people. It's not necessarily logic comes later on. People have a way of looking at processing money in a very emotional way. And spending is a very emotional process for people. So as soon as some big change happens in the economy, whether it's recession or not, people put a pause, or they are more mindful, or they're like, okay, where is my money going? They're kind of thinking about it, but they're more kind of they're putting a pause on it because they don't know what's going to happen. And part of
Even
it is
people's
also
perceptions of the economy are emotionally based. Most people aren't researching the data and understanding all the different pieces of data that go into how do you measure an economy. It's mostly emotional in nature, reacting to news stories, talking to people,
yeah,
their own
it's
their
like
own bubble.
people like like that was one of the things in that book. The author goes is like people invest not in like because they strategically think about it. They invest with their friends, their people they meet somewhere. Like it's a very casual process where they find or they meet somebody in a conference, and they all of a sudden start investing not because they thought about
Literally, you're describing me 15 years ago. That's how I. That's like I've
but
done so
that's
many
just
things,
generally
so
most
many,
people are.
so many non-logical things.
But and everybody has a different way of processing how they look at money, finances, investing, not because they have logically thought this through, but because they just grew up that way. Their mind just works like that, unless they've actually overrode that, or unless and I'm learning that process. They have so many instincts around money that makes no sense when you actually think about
And
it.
this is actually really interesting because as a coach, this is something you can bring to clients. If you've done the effort to become conscious and intentional at a higher level with your money, that's a frame that you can bring to your clients when they think about making money decisions. And that's really
Yeah,
important because a lot of clients have a lower level of consciousness and intention around money, just like you're talking about. Most people actually
yeah,
have a very emotionally driven sense of money. I have a client right now who is stuck there, and that's what we're working through. Some of those things they're trying to get organized, but it's not just about getting organized. It's about making the commitment to be more intentional with finances and with money. And so
yeah.
that's part of the value that you can bring to people as they go through this journey of signing up as a client. Is like, how do you think about money, right? There's an opportunity there oftentimes for clients. So
Yeah, and also it's an opportunity for us because it's actually very hard to help somebody with even asking the right questions around money if you haven't actually worked through it yourself. Now, again, with almost anything, I'm not saying you need to be perfect in this area. None of us are. But you're tackling the problem in your own life. You're working through it. You're looking at data. You're understanding how your own thinking around money. That's the only way you're going to ask them questions around it. It's the
yeah.
same with relationships. It's the same with any part of your life. Are you tackling any of the, if you're tackling them, you will know at least what questions to ask, where to go. Otherwise, your mind will completely ignore the subject
Yeah,
because
Richard
you,
Lippmann said you can't take somebody deeper than you've been, right? I
yeah,
think money is a really good example of that. If you haven't done the hard work of organizing your finances, then it's hard for you to help somebody else organize it. If
yeah,
you're like struggling to make sense of it all, then
yeah.
you're in the same place.